The Platino Awards have been honoring every year a different institution in the U.S. that has supported Ibero-American cinema. In previous editions, we honor the American Cinematheque, the Hollywood Foreign Press, and the American Film Institute. This year, we couldn't think of a better choice than to honor the Academy of Motion Pictures, Art and Science. Please welcome John Bailey, the President of the Academy.
Buenos días todo el mundo. Lo siento mucho que no puedo hablar un buen español, nada más que palabras y frases. I very much would like to thank Raul and Elvi and Ejeda for this wonderful award on behalf of the Academy. I will take it back to the office and show it around with a great deal of pride later this morning. I'd like to take a few minutes to just tell you what the Academy has been doing with regard to embracing diversity, and especially regarding Ibero-American cinema and the Latino community. Every year the Academy goes internationally to several cities to welcome new members and to also engage with members in respective countries that have been members for a long time. And last October, we went to Madrid and had the most amazing experience. We were hosted at the Casino Madrid, a wonderful sort of Baroque era palace. It was just a media blitz. It was the first time I think the Academy had been to Madrid. And I had the occasion there to meet one person that I'd been wanting to meet for a long time. He's a fellow cinematographer, and his name is Jose Luis Alquena. He was born in Tangiers, has been working in Madrid for a number of years, has photographed films for Pedro Almodovar, recently a film for Brian De Palma, and has just very recently finished a film for the great Iranian director, Asghar Farhadi. He has over 150 credits. He's 79 years old, and he's a new member of the Academy. Last year, a documentary film was shown at the Camera Image Cinematography Festival in Poland. And one of the outstanding films which won an award was a documentary from Mexico called Tempestad. It was so successful that it became the Mexican entry for the Foreign Language Film Award this year. Although it didn't make a short list, it was beautifully, beautifully received. And that cinematographer, Ernesto Pardo, is also a new member of the Academy. So I'm very excited that 2 new members are my branch cinematographers. Now we just need to get the other 16 branches to move a little faster. Also, we went to the Maneglia Film Festival in October, and I had the occasion there to see Coco in Spanish and in English. And I must tell you, seeing it in Spanish strikes so much closer to the heart, even for somebody who speaks minimal Spanish like me, so much closer to the heart than the English version. And I would just wish everybody in Los Angeles could see Coco en Español. Also at the festival, we were welcomed by the director of the festival, Daniela Michel, and Alejandro Ramirez, who is the head of a Mexican theater chain, which you all know, Cinépolis. And Alejandro has recently become a member of the board of trustees of the new Academy of Motion Pictures. So there's a lot of activity going on. Also, the Academy last October started a festival in conjunction with the Getty Museum called LA, Los Angeles, Latin America. And we're hosted on Mondays over a 2-month period, a dozen Latino-themed films. I had the great pleasure to introduce on the opening night the first film, Zoot Suit, starring our wonderful Edward James Olmos. And also in the audience there that night was Luis Valdez, the director and the founder of Teatro Campesino. So it was a wonderful festival and an incredible sort of manifestation of the excitement and the energy that the Academy has on behalf of Latino cinema. I'd just like to, if you will indulge me for just a minute more, I'd just like to say something about my own personal experience. I came up through the ranks as an assistant cameraman and then as a camera operator, and in 1978 I became a director of photography. And the first studio film that I photographed was a low-budget film for Warner Brothers that was a story of two Chicano brothers, their relationship living in East LA. We photographed it all in the barrios and along Whittier Boulevard. It was a film that starred Danny de la Paz, Richard Iniguez, Marta Dubois, Betty Carvalho, and the great Gary Cervantes. There's a film called Boulevard Nights. 1979 it was released. It was a film that has become a cult film, I think, for the Latino community, and I'm very proud of it. And just last December, the Library of Congress's National Film Preservation Board chose Boulevard Nights as one of the 25 films to be entered into the class of 2017 for the National Film Registry. And about a year and a half ago, I went in for an interview on a new film. And it was a small film company I'd never heard of called 3 Pas. And I met the producer, Ben Odell, and the star of the movie, a man which I must say is a gringo, whose work I didn't know, Eugenio Derbez. They asked me to photograph the film, which I very proudly did, and Eugenio and I have become wonderful friends since then. So my own career is bookended from 1979 to 2016 by 2 films photographed in Los Angeles that deal with Latino Chicano experience, and I'm very proud of it. And it's this kind of thing that I think is so important to the future of the Academy. One other note, when Sebastian Lelio from Una Mujer Fantástica was here in Los Angeles, I had the great pleasure not only to meet him, but my wife Carol and I invited him and his wonderful wife Virginia to our house, and we had a lovely dinner with them, and we've since then become very good friends. I'm so pleased to see, what is it, 7 or 8 nominations for your Platino Awards? 9? It's absolutely amazing, and very gratified by that. I also saw for the score, Derlis González, for a film that I very much favored. It was the official Paraguayan entry this year for the foreign language film. It's called Los Buscadores. Have any of you seen it? It's an amazing film. It's the second feature film by the 2 directors, Juan and Tana, and they were up here in Los Angeles to show their film at the Palm Springs Festival. And I had the great pleasure not only to meet them, but they were able to stay with Carol and me for 3 days. And I took them to the Academy, showed them around, and took them down to the Great Goldwyn Theater, which is a 1,000-seat theater for the Academy and probably the best screening room in the world. Sat them down and showed them a half hour of their movie, Los Buscadores, and they were both in tears afterwards. The fact that they were able to see their film in this theater was just incredible for them. I further learned, they told me, I knew very little about Paraguay. It's this incredible landlocked country that was in a squeeze play for a long, long time between larger neighbors. But the film industry in Paraguay, even today, is still very small. And Tana told me that they've only made 30 feature films in the entire history of Paraguay. But the two films that they've done, Siete Cajas and Los Buscadores, are amazing films. And so, I'm sorry, there's so many things I wanted to say to you about how important I think the emergence of Ibero-American cinema and Latino cinema, and how much more the Academy wants to do to support all of you as we move forward. Just in closing, just like to say what Richard Iniguez says to Danny de la Paz at the end of one scene in Boulevard Nights, "Ay te wacho, carnal." Thank you.
Thank you to John Bailey, the President of the Academy.